Hey girlfriends, welcome to another episode of the Girlfriends Guide. This week we're going to talk about relinquishing the need for other people's approval. Yeah, I'm hitting the nail on the head this time. In the last few weeks, I have experienced some weird energies. More specifically from other people that I didn't expect to feel that type of energy from. And what it made me realize is I cannot move, walk, operate in a space of caution according to what I think other people might feel about me or whether or not they support the things that I'm trying to do. Oftentimes, when we're in a space of transition, and realistically, we're always moving and trying new things, if it's at work, if it's in your business, if it's in your relationship, if it's with your family, we're alive, we're well. So the reality is there's going to be times in your life when you realize, you know what, I need to shift this thing, or I need to do this, or I should be doing more of that, or I think I want to try this. And a lot of times people don't move on those things because they fear what other people might think about them. They also strongly fear whether or not they approve of them, and also whether or not what someone else thinks of them, if it aligns to what they envision themselves being to that person. And so that's really what I want to talk with you guys about this week. I have always been very carefree when it comes to what other people might be thinking about me. There is very few and far between times where I strongly didn't move on instinctually on what I feel I should be doing because somebody doesn't approve. Like, your vision, your plans, your goals, your career, those are your things. Those are all you things, right? Those are you things because those things were innately placed in your hand. Your career, your goals, your plan, your businesses, your dreams, whatever it is that you're aspiring to do, right? That's your thing. I am not going to feel the same way about it because it's not my thing. That's the first thing that you need to take into account when you are kind of positioning yourself for wherever you're headed. You are not required to approve of anything anyone else is doing, and no one else but you are required to approve of the things that you choose to do. That even in many times will come with people who you thought one way about you. Sometimes we find out that they feel completely different, or they were impacted completely different from what our intentions were. I experienced that a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Last week and the week prior, it was an ongoing situation. And it made me remember just the importance of not settling in the space of the disappointment that I felt around this person totally misconstruing what my intentions were, and also moving in the reality of what I know my intentions are on a regular basis. The fact is, people are gonna lie. People will almost at times when they see you moving and doing things try to, there's these posts that always say you can't expect a fish to want to fly, or the cheesy posts, but they all make sense, right? And in being in that space with that person, I felt like, wait, what? That's not even my character. I wouldn't even say this kind of thing or that kind of thing. Whatever the argument was, what they said about me, and I'm sitting in this room listening to the conversation and being told, let them talk, let them speak. And I'm like, okay. And everything that they're saying, everything that's coming out of their mouth are literally things that I would never in a million years even say, right? And it just reminded me of, as we navigate this world, our world, and the life that we're building for ourselves, there will be people along the way who, one, will have an opinion that will not make or break your forward movement. And it's important for you to acknowledge that in these spaces where we are elevating and nurturing ourselves to be better leaders, business owners, visionaries, whatever you're trying to be, in that space, you hold what you're doing 100 times more near and dear to your heart than the people around you will. And that's okay, right? As you continue forward and push through wherever you're headed and whatever you're doing, it's super important to always hold tight to the reality of I'm the only one that's required to give this thing 100%. If none of my friends respected, supported, or validated anything that I'm doing, I can 100% tell you I would still be doing it. Because it's my passion, it's my goals, it's my dreams. And honestly, they're so immense and important to me that I don't think I would be able to navigate this life without doing them, whether someone else outside of me approves it. Like, God didn't give you your vision for somebody else to say, aha, this is what you need. This is a great idea for you. No, he gave you that vision because it was yours and he saw what your capabilities were. He saw that you have the strength and the power and the mindset and the innovation and the creativity to actually be capable of whatever your vision or your plan or your career or your goal will require. Use that as your validation. Use that as the support that you outwardly seek. What you're doing in this season of your life and beyond only requires one yes. And that yes is from you. That yes is not from your husband, your boyfriend, your fiance, your coworker, your boss, your cousin, your sister, your best friend, whoever it is. The main yes to keep you moving forward, that comes from you. That yes to get up. That yes to give it another try. That yes to get dressed, to actually go, to actually commit, to actually stay disciplined, to actually give that thing a try. Those are all the yeses that you are constantly making in order to make your thing, your dream, your business, your career, all the things, right? Your relationship. It might just be a relationship that you're working on, whatever it is, right? The yes to even involve yourself in those things, that main yes comes from you, not anybody else. And so I want you to ground yourself in the power of who you are, how your decisions and your choices are the key factor for you. And it's never going to be any louder, any stronger, any powerful than you actually giving yourself the yes. Because, I mean, granted, it's good to have the support of others, right? But it's not necessary. Do you actually need somebody else to say yes to something that's already yours? Do you? Do you actually need the thought process of someone who is not even as passionate, who doesn't even care as much as you do? Do you actually need their yes? Or does that yes or that approval validate your ego? Yeah, I told you earlier, I'm hitting the nail on the head. Because a lot of times, that need for validation and outside support or somebody else's approval or them really aligning and valuing what you bring to the table comes from a space of your ego. And we are all guilty of it. Me too, right? Me sitting at that table in that space, not responding to someone saying something, a complete lie about me. My ego wanted to respond. But my mindset and all of the work that I have done to grow in the space that I'm in my career, that is what kept me quiet. Because quite frankly, I don't care who it is. You're very much allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to feel one way or another, but I don't have to align with those feelings or whatever you're thinking or whatever that opinion is, especially not if it doesn't speak to my real intentions, my character, and something I actually did. It's important for you to remember those things no matter where you are on your journey. You could be 10 years in the game. There's no guarantee that year 10 will be perfect. There's no guarantee that year 10 will be you being intrinsically and extrinsically motivated, that you won't have people around you yaying or naying what you're doing. You could be year 10 in your game and face a little adversity. The reality is that adversity is not bigger than your ability to push yourself forward. And whether people around you are saying yes to what you're doing or not, you're still fucking doing it. That's the thing I need us to stick to. Like I said, there's a million yeses that we're responsible for. I'm responsible for the yes that says, when my alarm goes off in the morning at 5 a.m., I'm responsible for the yes in me that says, yes, I'm going to get up and I'm going to respond to this alarm according to my goals. There's a yes that comes with me brushing my teeth, taking a shower, doing all the things I do to prepare myself for the next day, for the day ahead, not even the next day, but for the day ahead. There's a million yeses that we give ourselves. Why is a singular yes from someone else more valuable? You say yes to the goal. You say yes to the action. You say yes to the execution. I absolutely do not need you to give me another yes on something I've already gave myself permission to do. It's important for us to resonate more strongly with our own yeses than we do with the validation or yes of someone else. They don't have to believe in it. Baby, they ain't gotta believe that meat greasy. You don't have to believe water is wet. But what I do have to believe, I absolutely owe it to myself to believe in what I am setting out to do. No matter how big, no matter how small, whatever it is, the belief, the very first and most meaningful yes, comes from me, comes from within, comes from the prayers that I pray before I go to sleep and align myself with God's vision and word for me, right? I think that it's easy to get lost in the sauce of someone else's yeses and the support and all of these things that happen when we gain success or when we're seeking success. It's super easy to get caught up in those things. I'm just here to remind you to circle back to the fruit of your own yes, to circle back to the power of what that yes means for the actions that you put into play for yourself, and let that be your motivation as opposed to that fickle, maybe they support me today, maybe they don't type yes. Because the reality is seasons change. I can't wholeheartedly move according to what somebody else might be feeling today. You might fuck with me today and maybe not tomorrow, but I fuck with me every single day. That's the difference. When we are navigating new spaces, and not when I say new spaces, I'm not saying like, I'm saying new you spaces, because we're constantly growing and evolving. And there's a chance that the you that resonated with someone else today might not even be able to hold a conversation with that same person 2 or 3 days later, because you're still growing, you're still evolving. And in the case that you no longer resonate with that person, but your vision is still strong and your actions are still moving toward whatever it is that you want to come into fruition, are you going to pause just because the alignment is no longer there? No, absolutely not. So in all cases, at all times, I think that we have to always circle back to the power of our personal yes for where we're headed, and just relinquishing that constant need for somebody else to tell you, go girl, good job, this is a good idea, oh girl, I support you. Like, you don't need that. Does it feel good? Yes. But again, when we get to the core of what that need comes from, it's your ego. It's your ego. Nothing but ego requires someone else to say yes to something you've already given yourself a yes for. Nothing else but ego requires someone outside of you to encourage you more than you can intrinsically encourage yourself. And when you get into those places and spaces where you feel like, oh, they don't even care, or I'm doing this and nobody's tuning in, or I gave 100% to this and nobody said thank you, or whatever it is, when you get into that space, check your ego. Check your ego. When you're constantly sulking or sitting in spaces where you don't feel appreciated, or you don't feel seen, or you don't feel heard, check your ego first. Nobody else but you are required to support you the way you need to be supported as you journey through whatever it is you're trying to do. It feels good to have people around you that support your journey. I'm just saying, don't let that be the reason why you don't continue forward. I hope that makes sense. We all have a lot of things going on all the time. One of my friend circles, and nearly everyone in that friend group has like changes happening in their career, right? But one thing that we always go back to is, if it's for me, it will be. Period. If it's for me, it will be. If it's for you, it won't miss. It's that simple. But there's something that has to happen in order for it to not miss you. Once it gets to you, right? It didn't miss you, but it's at your doorstep. There's a yes that happens when you open that door and welcome it in. There's a yes that happens when you decide to sit with whatever that thing is, whatever that change is. And that yes doesn't come from your homegirl standing behind you saying, oh girl, let that thing in, let that opportunity in, open that door. No, the yes comes from you. The yes actually comes from you walking up to that door of opportunity, you actually opening it, you actually welcoming it in, and then deciding, how am I going to handle this thing with enough care to bring it into fruition? I'm just here to remind you, like, you got to be your biggest cheerleader. Everybody that has been there along the way, some of them will see your true intentions and others will purposely misconstrue it. Others will purposely misconstrue what your intentions are just to make themselves feel better about the fact that they're not moving while you are. Still move, nonetheless. It's just super important for us to constantly hear and be reminded from people that are not biased. I want to be that for you. I want to be a constant reminder that you don't need me or your friends or anyone else outside of you to give you the yes that actually should be coming from you. I remember when I was younger, in elementary school, I've always had a lot of friends here and there, but like I just remember before when friends would make me mad or people would do things, my mom would say, you don't live or die off of friends. Like, it's good to have great friends, but you're still gonna be okay if you don't have any. Like, you'll be fine. I know everybody at some point has said, you ain't got no goddamn friends, I'm your friend. Your mom has said that at some point or another. And then as you grow and you meet people and you get along with or don't, you realize like, mama was on to something. And I have great friends. I value every single one of my friendships. I'm just saying, don't let them be the end all be all for why you do or don't. Completely envelop yourself in what your thing, your dream, your goal, your career, your plans, your business, whatever it is. Don't let someone else who doesn't even believe it or see it or have a passion for it or understand it, who hasn't done the work, don't let them talk you out of, walk you back from, or make you miss something because you were waiting on them to say a singular word, yes. And the only yes that counted in the first place was your own. I'm just a messenger. You know what they say, don't shoot me. Anyway, I just wanted to drop in for a quick little message with you guys. I will hopefully be back next week with another guest. Hope you guys enjoyed my last episode where we had Alicia Grant from Iconic Aesthetics. If you haven't already done so, I did tag her in that last post, but you guys should definitely be following her and booking your lash appointments with her. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys next week. Bye, girlfriend.